Hello and welcome to our panel today where we're going to be talking about the not provided keyword phenomena and encrypted search. I'm Chad Hill, the CEO of HubShout, and I'm joined today by a number of other SEO experts. We have Colin Jarman from Click Optimize, Christine Rochelle from Lotus 823, and we have Brett Snyder from Nebo. So let's get this started. Colin, could you explain a little bit about what keyword not provided is, and for those people who may be watching this that don't understand it?
Yeah, so in the past, users who were logged into Google could make a choice in their privacy settings to hide their keyword data from websites with analytics installed, and that would appear as not provided. Recently, Google made a change to their default settings such that all searches, whether you're logged in or not, are secure. So effectively what that's done is made just about 100% of searches come back as secure, and so the keyword data now shows up as not provided within Google Analytics.
Got it. Now, Christine, how do you think that the lack of keyword data is affecting the SEO industry? Do you think this is a big deal or something that's not that big of a deal?
It honestly depends on how you're approaching SEO at this moment. A lot of SEOs who are more traditional in terms of their strategy and their metrics, it's going to be a huge change for them. But if you've been able to move with a lot of the things that Google's been putting out, you're a little more prepared for this change. So in terms of reporting, I believe that a lot of third-party providers are probably going to certainly gain a lot of business from this because people are going to look for more data outside of Google Analytics. But if you look at what's been added to analytics as well as how Keyword Planner came about, you can see that Google's really looking more towards user behavior. So switching the metrics a little bit and really utilizing user behavior metrics more so than the straight keyword metrics, and it's the biggest struggle is going to be the education of the client. If you're providing SEO for a client, educating them on how these metrics are changing and how that could also change strategy.
That's a great answer, and thanks for that. And Brett, I guess we want to flip it over to you and find out, what do you think of the not provided and encrypted search? What's your take on why Google's doing this, and is it something that impacts the SEO industry in terms of trying to take data away, or are there other reasons that they're making this change?
Sure, and I think Christine kind of hit the nail on the head when she talked about user engagement. If you look at all the changes that Google's been making over the past couple of years, from the fact that Keyword Planner replaced the AdWords tool, which used to give more keyword level metrics in terms of search volumes. They cracked down on different third-party providers that were scraping results to give rankings reports. They have the Hummingbird update, the Penguin update, the Panda update, all of these things that are really trying to get SEOs, really marketers or business owners in general, to be able to look at not serving the keyword, not serving a search query anymore, but serving the user on the other end of the search query. That you're trying to provide an answer to a question, not a response to a particular query. And I think that it's really kind of a fundamental change in how Google wants us to pursue optimizing for their search engine, because they don't want people to optimize simply to rank in their results. They want to optimize their websites to be able to serve the end user, and Google just wants to serve as that conduit between a business and a user in a way that hasn't been available prior to '99 when it kind of came out.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I guess one of the things that I heard Rand Fiskin at Moz.com talk about was that this early idea back, way back when search engines, when there were lots of search engines, not just one and a couple, second run ones, but that early on there was a general contract or idea of a contract that's like, look, I'm going to let you crawl my website and put my content in your search engine. But in exchange for that, I want to know when you do refer traffic what that person's looking for, so that I can tune my pages to make sure that those pages, and you hit the nail on the head, Brett, but that answers the question the person's searching for. So has that really changed? I mean, I guess, Brett, going back to you, has that really changed? Has that contract been broken? Is it still fair that basically this data is no longer coming over, or are we just going to have a new way of looking at it?
I think that what it really comes down to is the contract. Every one of Google's updates, if you really look at it, is a response to their algorithm being abused. You know, when you see things like the Panda update is going after people who were stuffing keywords into the site. The Penguin update was going after people who were trying to build spammy backlinks to manipulate the algorithm. This update's a little bit different in the sense that it is trying to get people to stop optimizing just for keywords. It's a little more intangible to look at it that way because it's not so distinct to say this is a spam tactic, but there's a lot of money in search. You know, there's a lot of money in ranking in the top spot. There are some industries where the #1 spot can generate hundreds of thousands of dollars a day in revenue for you. And when that's the case, people are willing to do whatever they need to show for those keywords. And I think Google wants to get people, at least that's their approach to it, that they want to get people back to the level where they're going to serve the end user and not simply use this as a tool to make money without respecting the end user on the other side of the engine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. And you know, I want to switch gears here and talk a little bit about what some of our companies are doing to introduce new metrics. And some of you already talked about engagement and even that, you know, Google, even though they're not passing the keyword data in the referrals anymore, that they have opened up other methods of getting data like Webmaster Tools so that you do have information. So I want to spend a minute talking a little bit about what HubShout's doing, and then I want to also have each of you have a moment to talk about what your respective agencies are doing to, you know, to what metrics you're now looking at in your monthly reporting. So at HubShout, we've been pushing for a while. We've kind of seen this coming. We've really been pushing for a while on measuring the leads and the output of what people are doing on your website. So, you know, our software, we have a software product. We measure lead referral sources. We measure number of phone calls based on, and we have a script that swaps out phone numbers so we can look at the number of phone calls coming in from different sources. Because we believe at the end of the day, you want to look at, you know, for most of our clients are looking to generate leads, and we want to show that the investment, the search engines, that, you know, the content we're creating and what we're doing to make your site a more engaging place, that's turning into new customers. So we're really focused there. Now, you mentioned something, Brett, which is interesting, because at the same time, we have had to strengthen some of our keyword ranking tools because people still want that data. They want to know, am I improving in the rankings or not? So I think this is a longer-term transition, but we've definitely amped up that. The other metric that we've introduced at HubShout is we've started including in our monthly reports a number of entrances from organic sources at a page level, because one of the metrics we want to show is that as we engage with you and we build interesting, compelling content on your website, that the number of pages receiving organic referrals is going to increase. Even though we don't know what keywords are referring that traffic, we're going to know that that content is addressing a need out on the web and people are finding it and engaging with it. So that's what HubShout's doing. I want to turn this over to Colin and hear a little bit about what you're doing at Click Optimize to redefine some of the metrics in your monthly reporting.
What you were saying about increased organic referrals to individual pages is actually kind of exactly the path we've taken with it. When it's all said and done, it's about relevance to what the user is actually searching for and what's on your page. So if you do good SEO, each page is going to have a specific theme or topic that it addresses. And so if you look at your landing pages from the organic traffic, you can see, okay, 20% of our organic traffic lands on this page, 40% lands on this page. And so by looking at that and knowing what topic your landing pages are focused on, you can start to get a good idea of the types of searches that people are using to find you. Going back to ranking reports, that's another thing we can cross-reference this with. So by combining where we're ranking in searches for hundreds of different keywords in our ranking reports, as well as where our organic traffic is landing, what pages it's landing on, we can paint a pretty good picture of what keywords people are using to search for us and determine what needs to be changed or updated or moved around. We top it all off with some good keyword research in the keyword planner and Google Trends and stuff like that, and we can get a solid idea of how people are finding us.
Awesome, and that's great. So Christine, what are you guys doing at Lotus? So how are you guys addressing this?
So we've sort of been, you know, turning it around a little bit, and one of the ways that we optimize a lot of our landing pages is based on particular keywords, whether it's related to the product or to the service. So really, watching that user engagement and watching, the engagement with those pages. And, one of our advantages is that we're able to integrate both the traditional PR as well as social media. So really, at the end of the day, what our SEO metrics are going to tell us is what kind of content that we have to craft to be able to continue to build our communities for our customers, as well as to improve engagement. So looking at, in terms of media relations on the traditional side, which stories that they're picking up in for content, and then on the social media side, seeing what pieces of content, whether it's a specific post like video or status, or a specific topic that they're engaging with, taking all of those metrics into play with also the in traffic and engagement on the landing pages and the blog posts, and being able to craft content for the brand, for the client, based on those metrics. So it's really, when it comes down to, is that most SEOs are wanting to manipulate Google, and Google's constantly been turning it around and saying, well, you really have to change yourself based on what your audience wants, and that's where a lot of those audience metrics are coming into play in Google Analytics. So by integrating those other two data points on traditional as well as social media, we'll be able to continue to craft our content to make the sites more relevant for the user and thus for Google.
Awesome. So again, really good stuff. Definitely some commonality here that's coming up. Now I want to flip it over to Brett and ask you, Brett, what are you guys doing at Nebo? And Brett, you may need to unmute your mic there. I was trying to reduce some of the background noise here.
No problem. Sure. So what I actually want to talk about is a little bit different than just the straight-up reporting, because I think everybody here has kind of hit the nail on the head already. I think that you have to look at things at a page level. You have to look at engagement metrics. You have to look at things. You even have to look at things like your rankings reports, because if you can say, hey, we know that this term used to drive a lot of traffic and it still does, now we have a little bit more information to be able to tell us what goes through. What we've tried to start looking at is to start looking at the keyword themes that are surrounding your site. So yeah, Google took away our keyword referring data. It didn't take away our landing page data. It didn't take away our Webmaster Tools data, which is questionable on whether or not that you believe that, but it is information from Google telling us what they think our site is relevant for. And they didn't take away our on-page metrics. One of the things that we start to look at is through a tool called Screaming Frog, where you can actually pull all the title tags associated with your website. And if you know that title tags are one of the most fundamental elements that you optimize for as an SEO, at least for us, it's one of the very first things that we do once our keyword research is completed. What we're trying to do is we're trying to match up the keywords that are actually placed in the title tag, because we know they're the ones that we feel are most relevant to the site. And then we look at how those correlate with the keywords that Google, through Webmaster Tools, is telling us is referring traffic to our site. And so from there, we're able to pull out themes. We're able to pull out additional long-tail opportunities that maybe we hadn't considered. We are able to use the available information that we have in order to actually go in there and say, okay, now I know that since this page got a ton of traffic and we're targeting X, Y, and Z keywords in those title tags, I want to see what other related keywords that Google is telling us referred traffic, or at least referred impressions, to our website. From there, we can go and almost reverse back into our original keyword research process to be able to say, do these terms make sense? Do these terms, do the other sites that Google is showing in these results match with the user intent that we expect to align with these search queries? And from there, we're able to say, okay, now these are the things that we can really look at to help build our SEO strategies. And the other thing that, and I am of a personal opinion that this may or may not be why Google is pushing this not provided, but this information is still available in your paid campaigns. This keyword referring data is still available if you go and you purchase your AdWords keyword placements. And so if you go in there and you can actually see, all right, if I spend the money in AdWords, and then I'm able to see how these keywords refer traffic and what conversions these lead to, and how this attributes to the growth of my business revenue, my leads, my contact form completions, however you measure conversions in your KPIs, that information is still available on paid platforms. So kind of I hate to use the word synergy since it sounds like a buzzword, but that kind of working together with your alternative mediums, and Christine mentioned PR and off-page PR, working together with your complementary mediums is giving you considerably more information about your site as a whole than we did when looking just granularly at individual keywords.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I'm surprised no one mentioned this, but I think in addition to certainly that this data, the keyword data, is very valuable to Google. There is I believe, a privacy issue around it. There was some research that someone did a number of years ago where AOL released a supposedly scrubbed list of keyword searches, but they did have a unique identifier, and some researchers were able to almost specifically identify people based on just the search queries you have. And as we all know, the number of advertising cookies floating around on the web these days, it wouldn't take a lot for somebody to use that keyword data to actually build a very, very precise profile of who the person was, maybe even down to the specific person. And so I do think that, one, Google wants that to be them who has that data, and two, they probably do have a rightful issue. There probably is a rightful privacy issue because they know better than most of us about what's really going on across lots of websites. Well, again, I want to I don't know if anyone has any final comments, but I want to thank you all for coming today. This is really interesting information. So I just will kind of pause here. If anyone else has anything else to say, please bring it up. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot again for your time today, and I hope everyone who joined us and watches this webinar appreciates the expertise that we were able to bring together. So thanks a lot, and talk to you soon.